It's like crazy stuff. You're like the whole time you're like, God,
Well, I mean, you see that irks me because right away, if you got one pad worn more than the other, you have an overlying issue here.
Yeah.
It's either a caliper or the slide, the pins, something is preventing that caliper from moving right. So you're not fixing the problem. You're just repeating the cycle. I watched a guy this week. I don't know where this guy came from. It was the stupidest video in the world when I come to think of it. He had like a foreign car up on a jack stand, looked like a little Toyota, and he took off the brake rotor and he cast 3 other brake rotors, one out of aluminum, one from lead, and one from what was the copper, and then cleaned them up, put them on the car, and like ran it until they like overheated and like I don't know what the point was.
The point was to get you to watch it.
You know, and it did, and I hung with it to see like where the payoff was going to be, and then there was none, and it pissed me off. I was like,
you paid him off though.
Yeah, he just wasted like 10 minutes of my life watching this stupid shit.
Yeah. That's when
10 minutes watch time.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Lewis?
Another day in the big city.
Yep.
So yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, parts interchange, it becomes a little bit of an art form because the more you do, the more you learn, and the more you're able to do it. I mean, I've worked with guys where I said, listen, we're gonna put a distributor in this car, and you took like a points distributor out and put an HEI in. I'm like, what are you doing? That one's so much bigger. I'm like, yeah, well, the shaft ain't. The shaft is the same. It's just the body. But how are you going to make that fit? How are you going to make it work? It's all different. I'm like, well, there's a little bit of conversion you got to do. There's a little bit of work, but we're just going from breaker points to breakerless. It's not a big deal. And some guys just can't wrap their head around like it didn't come that way. I know the ones after it came that way. Now we're just doing a retrofit.
Yep.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I had a 69 Buick. One of the first things I did was, after I had to keep redoing the points every like 3 months, I'm like, forget this HEI.
Right.
I was tired
Yeah,
of that.
for an HEI in a 71 Buick. Am I real?
Yeah, it was funny. I was on one of my Ford ones. They were talking about changing over to the Ford HEI, whatever it was called, and it was funny because you would have to change the wires because it had instead of having a male or a female cap, it had a male cap.
Right.
Right. So they actually, 1 year or somewhere along the line, they had the male cap on, female cap instead of a male cap for that, and you just bought a little adapter thing and put that on, and that was it's one of the, like you said, it's one of those things that if nobody ever knew or if you never came across, that way you didn't have to change all your wire, find the right wires with the ends and so forth. And
so it's interesting that one of the communities I come from is the W Body 3800 community, and that community 15, 20 years ago, there wasn't a lot of aftermarket available for them because it was an engine platform that was in a lot of vehicles, but there just wasn't a lot of call for like performance parts or anything like that. So for the longest time, the only brake upgrade you could do is you could take the, I believe it was 11-inch rotors from a stock Grand Prix, and you could upgrade those to 12-inch rotors off of the Impala, because the Impala was sold with a police package, and the police package had 1-inch larger rotors, but the same caliper. So it had a bracket that was a little taller and the larger rotor. Well, then someone found out, hey, the bolt spacing for F-body brakes with our twin piston calipers, the bolt spacing for the bracket is the same, and the distance from the center of the hub to the outer edge of the rotor is the same. All we need is a couple of bushings to go in the knuckle because the bolt on the F body is a little bit smaller. It's an M12 instead of an M14. So then all of a sudden people were going out and buying, front brake setups off of wrecked F bodies to put on our Grand Prix because it was the only brake upgrade available for them for the longest time.
Yeah. No, that's how it starts. Exactly how it goes. Yeah. Hair's getting a little long, Tyler.
Yeah, it's normal. I go to the barber once a week.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow. Keep him.
Wow.
What do they charge you up your way for haircuts?
I give him $40.
I bitch and complain because now I get to see the discount, but it's like $30 where I go. And my daughter, my wife, like they go out, it's like women get screwed. I mean, royally screwed. She's like, that isn't even the tips I give out when I go in. I'm like, what? It's like hundreds of dollars. I was like, listen, you both look great, but I think you're overpaying. I really do. I think you're overpaying.
Yeah, you can still get like a $10 or $15 haircut around here if you go to like Great Clips or Sport Clips or one of those places. But
yeah,
man, I don't know. I don't go for that. I like going to my barber every week. He does my beard. He does everything. You know.
All right, so if you're doing the beard trim, yeah, that's worth it.
Oh yeah, and that's and it's a therapy session too. You know, because he's an old school barber. So
yeah. Yeah, the barber used to be like the bartender, you know?
Yeah.
Tell Joe your problems.
I go to Great
barbers
Clips.
and bartenders are the best informants.
Right. Yeah, without a doubt.
They know everything.
Man.
I go to Great Clips, but they've had the same people working in my area for a while, so they've gotten to know me. And then two, I just go high and tight. I tell them, give me a high and tight military, think of a Marine, and I'm happy. And
so my barber does this line for me,
mm-hmm.
and then he'll do this line and all that stuff, you know, and he keeps my brows lined up and all that jazz. I go in every week, I sit down, he knows what to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mine is just a simple haircut, but I still, after I tip, after I tip and everything, it comes out to $26-$27. So
that's not bad.
Before our great president that Ray was telling us about, it was, I think,
Sniffer in chief.
Yeah, I think it was $22.
Yeah, this has been going. Speaking of that, I had a phone conversation with John Day this week, and we had a nice hour-long conversation because after the guest I had on last week, who really blew up my YouTube page. I mean, this guy, like, now we got some views now, but you got to have the good guest. I was talking to John about it, and we're talking all about what he's doing, and all sorts of other stuff, but we delved into politics, and he's not happy with the state of Canada either. So they don't have a
Trudeau is
Oh, he was really bad mouthing. But John is doing well. He's doing good. He's still working. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's doing his own stuff now and making his own brand of fluids and penetrants and whatnot. So he's getting
really.
Yeah, he's keeping busy. Yeah, it was good talking.
I meant to give him a call. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, it's good talking with him.
Speaking of
stunt crew are going to Canada in April, and it's interesting. One of the things that we're noticing is we're getting a lot of interaction from Canadians who are not shy to ask us to do things, is the way I would put it. Like, hey, can you shout out my dad's birthday on the PA? You know, like, we're getting inundated with all these people requesting like little special treatments, and I'm like, that's interesting because down here in the U.S. when we book a show, that doesn't happen.
Weird, yeah.
Right. That's interesting.
So, yeah, it was.
Yeah,
weird.
do like $20 a shout out.
Yeah, they're going to say.
Yeah, there you go.
Cash.
Yeah, send that money.
You might as well show them what the American way is all about.
Yeah. Monetization.
Money talks.
Exactly.
Speaking of Canada, we got a kid that he's temporarily going to school here, and after our game this week, we were waiting for the bus, and they had locked the field down, and he said, "Coach, I think I dropped my phone on the field. Can I go look?" And I said, "Well, it's locked." He goes, "I'll jump the fence, no problem." And I said, "All right, be careful." And I'm watching him as he's coming back over the fence. All the kids on the team, they're like, "Coach, he's jumping the fence like one of us, like a Mexican like us." And I said, "Well, you know he's from the other side of the border, right?" And they go, "Well, wait a minute, he's from," and I'm like, "The other side of the border, wrong border, but the other side."
Yeah.
We all got it. We all had a good laugh.
Yeah. Nice. I'll be right back. Hang on. My fucking wife didn't hit my damn key.
If we can still hear you, Ray. You have to bleep that out in the replay.
Gotta click the mute button, like I have to.
Yeah. Learning how to use that mute button.
What is? I'm looking at Motor Mouth Radio on YouTube. He put. Well, maybe I'll wait till Ray gets here.
You were talking about with the Grand Prix not having a whole lot, back early on, not having a whole lot of performance stuff. I've run into that with my S10 Blazer with the 4.3 V6.
No, just buy the turbo kit off eBay.
I don't want to go turbo.
They have the Cyclone
just buy small block Chevy stuff and cut 2 of the cylinders off.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. I mean, I've gone on the forums and looked at stuff, but
if you have a bandsaw, you can literally do that with the heads.
One of the things that I would like to change is the fuel injection, because it's got that stupid spider rail, or it's not even a rail,
spider injector.
Spider injection.
Yep.
And that thing, it fails.
Garbage.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I first started having a problem with it and had to change the spiders, it was vapor locking, and I'm like trying to figure out why it's vapor locking. Talk to a few people, and they're like, "It's fuel injected, it won't vapor lock." I'm like, "It's vapor locking." And anyways, finally found on the forums and stuff, look at the spiders. Well, the first thing I changed was the pressure regulator, and then I put it back together, and it was still having a problem, and I popped it off, popped the plenum apart, and I had my wife turn the key to pressure it up, and that thing, the spiders were misting everywhere, and so I had to change that. And I mean, they get carbon fouled, they get fractures, so I wanted to put a regular fuel rail in there. But yeah, everything I've seen a couple different things on some forums. I've tried to use it as a reason to convince my wife to let me put an LS in it, but I'm not biting. Not until after I put it in until I get one for the Chevelle. Get her Chevelle on the road.
What about the? I was just looking into this. The new 6-cylinder. What the heck is it called? LV3 or something? Is that what it is? LV.
That the one in the
Something
Camaro?
like that, yeah.
No, they put it in the trucks.
Yeah,
it's basically the LS V6.
LT.
No, what's LV3?
LT family, I think.
What's LV3?
Yeah. But I mean, it's not based off of the architecture. Isn't from the LS. It's from the LT.
From the LT architecture. LT. Gotcha. Yeah, it was like on 2014 and up. It's part of the, what does it say here? 5th gen.
Yeah,
it's a 5th gen engine family.
Yeah.
If I start finding them at the rec auctions.
So I was just looking at that. I was like, oh, I wonder if anybody's done this yet. It would be kind of interesting. I don't know what. I guess if you just get a wrecked truck, just take the engine and the computer and the transmission, you'll be all set.
And the wiring harness.
Yeah, the problem is anything with those 5th gen motors in it, they're still going to be pretty pricey when you buy a wrecked one.
Yeah.
Maybe not the V6. but anything with a V8 that way I know is still ridiculous.
Yeah, so the engine, I don't know, I'm just looking on eBay, 33, like $3,000 just for the engine.
Yeah, and then you still need all that.
And you need to do all this
and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's no transmission either. Do an LS. It's cheaper.
Way cheaper.
Yeah.
You know what I found? I found pretty funny last week's show. You guys were talking about when Tori picked up some parts to bring up to the interior shop up there.
Oh, Gills, yeah.
Gil Linda's shop. Yeah, he said he hooked up with a guy in Hempstead that had the parts. I actually know that guy. I've been dealing with that guy for like 45 years. He is the weirdest, oddballest that you ever want to know in your life. I mean, to this day, I just had a new one. He puts out his flyer, but it's handwritten on paper. Like, he doesn't even have like a word processor. It's just handwritten. He is so old school.
He doesn't have word perfect.
Anything like newer than 72.
Word perfect. Wow.
Yeah, he didn't even know what that passed him by. So that kept me to reach out to Tori this week to tell him, like, hey, if you got to make a run like that again, dude, give me a buzz by. Just pick me up. I'll go with you. Yeah, we're all like in the same neighborhood here. But I got too busy to call him.
Where's Tori live about?
He's east of me. He's out in Suffolk County. He's in Babylon.
Okay.
I had to go to Carmack yesterday. That's how the Long Island is all comprised of like native, Indian names and towns, and when you can always tell when there's a new weather guy or a new
they can't pronounce
traffic guy because they can't say the name. So this town I mentioned, we call it Comac, but they would say Carmack. It's Commack. I don't know where I get that from. Yeah, I had to go out there yesterday.
Yeah,
and kind of funny. Yeah.
So Ray, I'm looking at. I thought you put your videos, the Motormouth Radio videos, on something else, because I'm looking at Motormouth Radio.
Well, I put last week's on there too. I did put it on that channel also.
So it's funny because you put MMR Video, right? Have you gone back and looked at it?
What?
So it says context. It says MMR vaccine, CDC, blah blah blah. Tells you all about the vaccine.
That's not from me. That was from them. They must.
Yeah, that's from YouTube. YouTube put this little thing because you put MMR video.
I put it on everyone. Yeah, I put it on everyone.
Oh, this is probably on the other ones too.
But the other channel is Motormouth Video.
Oh, that's okay.
I threw it up on the other because that channel hasn't had anything new on it for like 3 years, and I figured.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Let me see what happens. We using that, but then we opened the new channel, and
I can spell video. Yeah,
we didn't want to kill the hits, the views, or whatever. Not that it's, believe me, it's not even good enough to be pathetic. But
the Motormouth Radio vaccine is the one I take every Sunday.
Yeah. We try and dispense that liberally, I tell you.
Liberally.
Yeah. That's about the only thing we do liberally.
Why don't I see it? All right, anyway. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Yeah, anyway.
I want to see if I can get him on this show, Lewis. We had Lake Speed Jr. Everybody knew who he was but me. Brian's got his father was a NASCAR driver and a go-kart racer for years. And the son became a tribologist. So he went in, got himself a degree and learned some stuff. So he's got a YouTube channel. That's how I found him. Mm-hmm. He popped up in my feed and I watched the stuff. And I said, okay, this guy obviously knows what he's talking about. So reached out to him, got him on the show. And I tell you, what a hit. I mean, he's got to come back more because we only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
You said he's a tribologist?
Yes.
So he studies Indian tribes?
Yeah, he's like master of tribes. Yeah. And that's what got me thinking about John Day. I thought John Day was a tribologist, but apparently he's not. I thought he was, but you know what? He still studies fluids and lubricity. So
is he a petrochemical engineer? Maybe.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
They work with plastics and all kinds of hydrocarbon stuff.
Right. But Lake is a tribal, and he's done some really good, useful videos on his channel. It's the oil geek guy. Is that his channel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look on YouTube, the oil geek guy. Let me just make sure. Let me double check. I think I wrote it down here. I guess I didn't. You can see he does a lot of useful real world stuff. He takes a complex subject and he's able to, for lack of a better term, dumb it down so us dummies can understand it. And but it's all practical knowledge, which is great. I love channels like that. Teach me something in a way that I can understand your specialty. That's to me.
So what should I do? What should I do for my next video, Ray?
In line with tonight's topic, anything that has to do with parts swapping, parts changing, parts adapting, I'm a fan. I'm all there. That's the stuff that I like to see.
Okay.
Because we all do that. We all have to do that. Even the thing I always end up doing is just making stupid little brackets or mounts from scraps of things. And, everybody's got their own style and, but it's good to see how other people do it, because then you get an idea and say, oh, shit, I could have done that so much easier and cleaner maybe, but I just didn't think.
That happens to me all the time. I'll do something on the bus, and then I'll go in the house, sit down, and watch a video, and the guy's doing it the right way,
yeah,
or the easier way.
Yeah, well, that's what burns me when I go to cruise nights, and I'm always looking at people's cars, and I'll ask the guy hey, how'd you do that? I really liked it. I don't know, I bought it that way. Shit. Well, where's the guy who sold it to you? I want to talk to him, not you. Got no time for you if you didn't build it.
It's the motor oil geek.
The motor oil geek, right? Yes, thank you. I knew I had it wrong. And very informative. Yeah, very informative. Can't see
Whatever calms down.
That's the motor oil geek. Yep. That's him. He's got a couple channels. He works for Total Seal Piston Rings. He's got another website too. I forget what it is. Right, something with a D. All his info should be on his channel. I think he has it in his bio.
Well, the nice thing about that interview is you could hear the passion he had for what he does.
Yeah.
And when there's people that they may like what they do, they enjoy what they do, but it takes it to another level when they have a real deep passion for what they do.
Oh yeah.
And that was the difference with that interview. I enjoyed it.
The thing that got me was toward the end, I asked him 2 or 3 things for future videos. He goes, "No, we're already doing that video. No, I already got that one in the can.
Yeah.
You gotta wait." I'm like, "Oh shit." So I said,
it was couldn't give an answer. The funny thing, the only thing that I thought was funny with him is even when he threw him a bone, when the guy works for Joe Gibbs Racing and he doesn't even flinch or doesn't even say anything, or when you say, I guess there's so much he could really talk about or say.
Yeah, he kind of played it off like it was no big thing.
No big deal. I mean, when you're on one of the top tiers of a NASCAR team and work. I mean, unfortunately, in this area, we're all passionate of Joe Gibbs just because he was the coach for the Redskins. You know what I'm saying? And he was loved by everybody around here. But do almost anything in the world to meet the guy or whatever. And it's just no big thing. It just kind of was weird.
I think that's
a good buddy of mine works for Hendrick Motorsports. And he's not on the NASCAR team, but he works in the motor building division where they build motors for other teams.
Yeah.
And I knew him for probably 3 years before I figured out that he worked there and did that.
Wow.
Because it's just normal. It's business as usual for him,
right?
Yeah.
And it was a Facebook post. He shared a win that one of the Hendrick teams had, and he goes, "This was such a huge win for us." Blah blah blah. And I was like, I know he's a NASCAR fan, but it just the way his comments were, I'm like, you sound like you work there. He goes, yeah, for like 12 years. I'm like, wow.
I think with Lake, it speaks to the fact that he grew up in that world because his dad was a racer. So as a kid, he was at the track in the pits with these guys. So he just grew up with it. So it kind of desensitized it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like my friend Christian that calls in all the time. He's a local guy, a regular guy, but he's a great machinist. He's a motorcycle mechanic. He works on everything. He's a fabricator, but he got a contract a few years ago to build engines for like the it was like I think the Daytona 200 race series. So I think it was maybe Suzuki or Yamaha, and they just like, they commissioned him like, we need 14 engines of this spec. And I remember I went to a shop; they were all lined up under the workbenches. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So he gets to go to the races and all. And he's a little more outward, a little more. He doesn't brag about it, but he'll talk about it a lot more. Where like Lake was, like, it's almost like he forgot about how cool it was,
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just business as usual to these guys, so they kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
And desensitized. So like when I announced on my Facebook page that I bought the bus and I was going to sell my house and move into the bus full time and all that stuff, I got a message from a guy I've been Facebook friends with for like 6 years. He has a GTO. He lives down in Cincinnati. So that's how I knew him, from the Holden, car community. And he sent me a message. He goes, "Oh, I hear I saw your post about moving into an RV. It was the best thing I ever did. I've lived in an RV full time for like 10 years now." I'm like, holy crap.
Wow.
Never knew that about you. He never talks about it. He never talks about it because for him, it's just his everyday life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was funny, like I said, like I said, the few times you threw a few bones out or have him get talking, and just like you said, never phased or never went.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
But like I said, there's so many questions.
Yeah, and that's why I said we will definitely. He was open enough. He says, he'd be happy to come back. So we'll. I already started a list. Of questions.
Yeah.
And I told Chris to do the same thing. I said, because he said the same. He goes, man, there was so many things I want to talk. I said, we'll make a list, and we'll have it ready. We'll just. That's all. The good guests are never one-shot deals. Never.
Mm-mm.
Same on this show.
Must be why I'm not allowed back.
No, Tyler, you were just the one shot. It's okay.
Yeah, right.
Long shot, one shot.
Yeah, Mr. One Shot. Yeah.
The one time. Sorry,
Mr. One Shot. That's, if I start a gaming channel, that's going to be my name.
There you go.
Because you die with one shot.
Yeah. No, it only takes one shot.
Yeah, to kill you.
One shot, one kill.
Shot, one kill. Yeah.
Well, guys, I got to jump ship. Good topic tonight.
Oh, I watched the video, Lewis. That was pretty cool. The year, the rapping on the bus, the year of the bus.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I got to watch that still.
Yeah, I got I just bought a new computer, but I got so much stuff in the can to edit. I just got to get to it. I'm way further than that video.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But it was like a half hour of you running around like the Flash. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I wish I could work that fast.
Yeah.
Let me spray the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Pretty
getting
good.
exciting. I'm doing a lot of woodwork inside now.
Yeah.
So it's getting you know what I mean? It's getting exciting because you can see it's coming together.
See it come together. Yeah.
It's not a box.
Yeah. Empty box. Yeah. That's cool.
All right, guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you next week.
Okay, Lewis.
Okay,
Hit me up if you guys come across anything good to talk about.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Take care, Lewis.
See you, Lewis.
Okay. Maybe we should go to dark mode ourselves.
Hey, I got a question.
What's that?
So this is off the RV. I was working on the RV today, and we got the fuel tank in. We got the fuel tank in a while back, but after changing to that carburetor, we tested and bit piece back, making sure we could still run the RV. Got the fuel tank up, got it filled, and it wouldn't start. So then we started unplugging to make sure. Well, that Mr. Gasket pump burned out. So we're trying to figure out what happened. Maybe we dry ran it once or twice. And I said, but we didn't do it. It was for like a couple seconds. And anyways, I ran up to the parts store. They had a Edelbrock one, and I just grabbed whatever off the shelf, got it hooked up, and it started feeding, but it wouldn't start. And as we were trying to check back and forth, I checked the carburetor, and there was no fuel getting to it, but we could hear fuel moving. So I started checking piece by piece back to see where I got fuel coming out. Doing that underneath was fun, getting bathed in gas, but I started to look at where it comes out of the fuel filter, if maybe the line was pinched and we were going to have to change the line. And my father-in-law said, well, what about that junction up at the top? He said, why don't we check there and move back from there before we go, anyways. So this is the feed in, and this is a Ford thing where it's for anti-vapor lock. This is the feed in. This is where it goes back to the tank, and this is going to the carburetor. So I pulled back here, and we got gas squirting out with the keyed ignition, with the pump running. Shut it off, plug it back in, pop this off, and it squirted out. Plug it back up, popped it off here, and nothing. And then I took it and blew on it, and there's nothing. And when I look down here, it almost looks like there's a check valve. Now on this side, there's a screen, and the screen is pretty clear, because I know before, when we started working on it, I saw where a lot of people were saying the screen can get mucked up, and I was able to get light in there, and the screen's clear and clean. But on this side, inside, it looks like there's like something in there, or a check ball or something. And I put like a pick in there and trying to push on it, and it wouldn't move.
Does it unscrew? Does it come apart?
No, it doesn't.
Well,
I wished it did, because that would be easier to start looking at stuff and seeing what the blockage is. I thought about which basically I came home, jumped in the shower, cleaned up, and ate something before getting on, so I haven't had time to do anything. But I thought about taking air and an air gun and seeing if I can blow anything open.
All right, check me on this. I'm thinking the inlet is the inlet. Fuel should pass through it to the outlet, and
Correct.
when it deadheads at the carburetor, that's when the valve would open to return. So
Correct.
I would think there's a valve in there that's gummed up and stuck. That'd be my thought.
I would soak it. I would take it and soak it either in clean gas, or take some turpentine, or what's the other stuff?
Marvel Mystery, maybe.
Marvel Mystery Oil. Or,
oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So, is that part available from anywhere?
It's a hard part to find.
Okay.
Or I would use or just go up to the hardware store and get mineral spirits.
Okay, I got mineral spirits.
And you just put it in a glass jar, fill that up, and let it sit in there for a little bit a day, and it'll clean it out. That's how I cleaned out my K-Tronics.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the ticket, Isaac.
And see because
well, and I think that's what burned out the other pump. See, we got it running like I said, and then as we were moving back and back and back the last time before we put the tank in, my father-in-law said, well, let's see how long we can keep it running, because he said, you know, I don't want to slap everything back together and we're just having it run for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and then it stall out. He goes, I'm really worried about this. And I said, that's fine. I'm thinking towards the end of that, it started to, it never stalled out on us, but I'm thinking towards the end of that, it may have started to move itself, and it was that pump might have been under excess pressure. I don't know. It just,
I mean, the pump's only going to give you like 4 or 5 psi.
Correct.
That's it.
And then technically it should be backflowing to the tank, so it shouldn't be over, you know, pressing up against the brick wall and burning itself out. I don't know.
Well, where is the pump in relationship? Because those pumps need to be lower. They need to have gravity fed. They need some gravity fed. They can't be up high.
It's on the frame. It's on the frame rail at the lowest point.
And it's got to be close to the tank, because if it's too far up, it's sucking. It's not.
It's sucking and not pushing.
Yeah, you need. That's the problem with some of those fuel pumps. That way.
Pumps, yeah.
Oh man, this would be awesome. Please.
But yeah, so went over there to button up a few things and figured we get this thing working, and this what we ended up with.
Such is the world of hot rodding motorhomes.
Yeah, I was ready to start buttoning it up, put it back and say, here, have it, drive it, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But yeah. The funny thing is because once I started working on it, my father-in-law, you know, he's telling me electric fuel pump, this, that, and the other, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's easy. It's fuel injected. You know, it's carbureted. I'm like, huh? I haven't messed with a carburetor since high school. You know, maybe early 2000s with my truck. I said, great. And so today I was like, all right, let's start break open the peekaboo screws and see if it seeps. And he's like, oh wow, he goes, hey, this has been a good experience for you, because you're getting the feel of it and the hang of it. You're not so nervous about messing with it. I said, yeah, it's a good thing, but it's also not a good thing. I want to get away from it.
Well, there's less people knowing how to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, all joking aside, it's been really awesome, because my dad passed in 2019, and I got to, over the last couple years, helping him with the RV, and then his other car, my father-in-law, that is. I've grown a lot closer to him, and he's grown closer to me, and we've actually had a good time. So
do you say, like, Jesus, you're not really the dumb shit I thought you were?
Just about. We've had some of those conversations. But
how long have you been married now?
Since 2002.
Okay, that's long enough.
I've been together. We've been together since 2000. But yeah, we've been all family for 23 years, 24 years now.
Okay.
24, because our anniversary just passed.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's funny too, because one day when I was working on the I was working on his Toyota Avalon. We had to remove and replace the rear control arms, rear lower control arms. The bushings had worn out, and that was a pain because there was a bolt or two that was seized in there. But anyways, I backed my Blazer up and I popped the hatch on it and connected my my playlist on my phone to my Bluetooth speakers on the stereo. And I have one that's labeled 50s, 60s era music and some 70s. And I put that on to listen to, and I figured he'd appreciate it. And he turned around and he goes, "What radio station is this?" And I said, "That's a playlist on my phone." He goes, "Oh, you can do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I really like this selection of music." And then he started telling me about back growing up on Long Island there. He started telling me about when they were kids, and his buddy of his had gotten a new stereo system, and they're out there at 2 a.m. with it blaring and people hollering out of the apartment buildings to shut up.
When did he leave New York?
When?
Yeah.
It was in the 70s. It was I'd have to ask him. So I think his first degree, he got it from Hofstra.
Okay.
And then he moved down here to go to the University of Arizona. And that was, I want to say, between 75 and 77, maybe.
Okay. So he's what, in his 70s?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where he was, where he lived when he was here on Long
Island? He's told me before. I can't remember. I know where his parents met in the, I want to say, the Sawmill area, and it was a swampy area.
Probably the North Shore.
But I don't know much more than that. He's told me, I'm drawing a blank on it, but yeah, when I see him, I'm going to see him more this weekend. I can ask him, and my wife might know, but
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. In fact, his sister, she still lives on Long Island, and she is she's teaching at one of the schools in Queens, or at least she was 2 years ago.
Right.
But yeah.
It's kind of funny. I kind of thought of you today, Isaac. I had to go out. Well, yesterday. I'm sorry. I had to go do this car inspection.
Yeah.
For that company I'm working for, and his lot was small and filled with cars. So I parked next door in a strip mall. And what do I park right in front of but a Polish pork store? So I took a picture and sent it to my wife. I said, "Look what I found."
Yeah.
Another Polish pork store. She said, "Oh, go and buy a Kamasi." Like,
oh yeah.
Man, you never know where you're gonna find them.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. We only have one Polish restaurant, at least one that I know of, one Polish restaurant down here.
Yeah.
It's called the Polish Cottage, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? With that, I'm going to end the stream, and we'll be back next week with more Plane and Traffic with the boys and myself. And for now, we're going to go dark and talk about the stuff we couldn't talk about when we were live. See ya.
Have a good night.
Later. See you guys.